very good. Mr. Ritchie is present, and both the state and the defense are here. Both sides ready to proceed.
The state's ready, Your Honor. I just have an issue I wanted to address with the court.
Yes.
As of yet, we have not received any word as to raw data from any kind of PET scans, MRI testing of the defendant being sent to our expert, Dr. Holder, Lawrence Holder, from Dr. Wu. If we have any chance of proceeding this week on this penalty phase, if we reach a penalty phase, he'll need to have that information so he can work the case and give an opinion as to it.
Where is it?
Judge, we had emailed Dr. Wu last week to get it to Dr. Holder. I was not aware that there was a problem until...
Is Dr. Wu on Pacific Standard Time? Where is Dr. Wu?
He's in California.
Okay, so at noon, Mr. Hernandez, you need to contact his office and tell him that they must get that information to Dr. Holder by, and where's Dr. Holder? Is he Eastern Standard Time?
He is, Your Honor.
Okay, so Dr. Wu has got until 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to get that information to Dr. Holder.
Yes, sir.
Okay? So Dr. Wu has until 2 p.m. his time to get that information over to Dr. Holder, and you can let Dr. Holder know, Mr. Harmon, that he's going to have that by no later than 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
I will, Your Honor. Your Honor, also as to the video, the mitigation video, I have viewed it. I would tell the court that I find the entire thing to be objectionable as hearsay, but as we've discussed earlier, I'm going to limit my objections because of the nature of the case and protect the record. But there are many portions of that are objectionable and I believe need to be redacted.
Okay, so here's what I need. I need you to give me a list of your objections, if you could.
Okay.
I don't know how long it is, but if you can tell me by timestamp or on the video,
Okay.
and you all need to get me a copy so I can look at it.
So what we did, Your Honor, was I had an intern go through, because it's in subtitles, because of the thick Jamaican
Yes.
accents. She has, for each witness, made a rendition, almost verbatim, as to what they say. I've highlighted portions of some of the witnesses' statements that I think need to be redacted. There is a section in the middle of the video. The video is pretty much prepared as if it's a documentary. And there's a section in the middle from 3506 to 4341. I would object to that entire section. It's a narration by a cab driver as the videographer is driving through portions of Jamaica. And
Okay, so Mr. Harmon, I've got,
Yeah.
first of all, we're not even sure we're going to get to
I know,
phase,
I know.
but if we do, we're now taking up time. So what I need is,
yes, Your Honor.
you need to send me, if you have it sounds like you have a transcript of the video.
I do.
You need to highlight the portions you object to.
I will.
Mr. Hernandez, I need a copy of that in the form. I can view it by close of business today, and I'll take a look at it tonight, okay?
Can I send it to your email? Would that work?
I don't know. I guess if it's something that can be played via my email, great. But you have to understand that the audience you're dealing with is low technology. So if it's anything tricky, then I won't be able to open it, and I won't be able to.
Your Honor, I'll have this disc burned and
Okay.
sent to you. We have
Perfect.
prepared it down onto a disc, but, I mean, there's more to it than just that. I have that in my notes. Hopefully my notes will suffice. I'll just make color copies of my notes where I've highlighted in yellow, and I'll let the court know. I've made check marks on the witnesses I have no problem with.
Just by close of business today, give me a copy of the DVD and the portions you object to, I'll take over there tonight.
And Your Honor, the reason I brought it up now is because they've told us that they're going to need time to do redactions.
I understand.
So,
I'll
all
look at
right,
it tonight.
good enough.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, anything else? Hearing nothing, I take it we're ready to go.
Just one other thing. State's indicated they expect to finish today. Whether or not it's going to be 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock, I don't know. But if it's 3 o'clock, I'm not going to be ready to go forward.
I
I'm going to
understand.
need time to talk to
Well, we're
my
gonna need to have our charge conference.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right, very good, and I haven't worked on the jury instructions. I've completed them, and the main thing I'm gonna need to know is if there are any other lesser included that you want
Okay.
that the state didn't put in. And I'll give you all a copy at our morning break of what I have done so far, so you can start reviewing it.
All right, you're entering.
All right, welcome back. Everyone have a seat. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. We're ready to proceed. I'm going to ask you my question I always ask you over the break. Did anybody watch, read, listen to any news accounts related to this case? Did you do any independent investigation on your own, or did you speak to anyone about this case? No. Okay, very good. I see two of our jurors. Looks like they coordinated outfits, maybe unintentionally. Very nice, very nice. All right, so with that, we are ready to proceed. State, who's your next witness?
Your Honor, the state calls Charles Phillippi.
Stop right here, please. Face the 30 feet forward.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is positive truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Step right this way, sir. Just have a seat right there. All right. Thank you.
Good morning. May I proceed?
May it please the court,
Yep.
counsel. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Can you please state your name and spell both names for us, please?
Charles is the first name, Charles, and Phillippi is the last name, Phillippi.
It's Phillippi.
Phillippi, correct.
Mr. Phillippi, are you currently retired?
Yes, sir, I am.
And where did you retire from?
The city of Temple Terrace.
All right, and where did you work for the city of Temple Terrace?
Did 1 year in Treasure Island.
All right. Did you work for the Temple Terrace Police Department?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. And how long did you work for the Temple Terrace Police Department?
26 years as a police officer, and then transferred over into our reserve unit for another 8.
All right. Can everyone hear the witness? Okay. All right.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I just want to make sure everyone can hear us. Through your career, did you work as a uniformed officer?
Yes, sir, I did.
And did you ever work as a detective?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you ever work as a supervising officer?
Yes, sir, I did.
And at some point, you've told us you transitioned into a reserve position,
Correct.
and that was in 2007.
Correct.
When you went into the reserves with the Temple Terrace Police Department, what was your duties or role?
The sole role was to work our cold case homicides that we had.
All right. And those are cases, unsolved cases from the past?
Correct.
I'm going to call your attention to May 29th of 2014. Were you working at that time as a reserve officer with the Temple Terrace Police Department?
Yes, sir, I was.
Were you tasked with responding out to the Courtney Campbell Causeway to make some collections of some sort?
Yes, sir, I did.
And what were you going to be collecting when you went out there?
Soil and sand samples.
All right. So I'm going to show you what's been marked as states AA-A-5. Have you previously seen this exhibit
Yes, sir, I have.
and you recognize it?
Yes, sir.
Does the exhibit, well, first of all, is the exhibit a satellite map or a satellite image?
Yes, sir, it is.
Does it reflect the area of the Courtney Campbell Causeway?
Yes, sir, they're in the middle.
Does it reflect Highway 60 as it enters into Clearwater and transverses across the peninsula of Pinellas County?
Yes, sir.
Does it also show areas on Clearwater Beach?
Yes, sir.
All right. And is it an accurate depiction of the way those areas appeared back in May of 2014?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, our tender states AA-A-5.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, admitted?
Move to publish.
Yes.
All right, so on this map, are the areas where you collected the different soil samples, are they reflected on the map?
Yes, sir, they are.
And when you collected the soil samples, were they labeled?
Yes, sir.
Sample A, sample B, sample C, sample D. All right. So let's start with sample A, looking to the right of the map. Can you tell the jurors where you traveled to collect that soil sample?
That sample is at there's 2 different bridges on Courtney Campbell. There's a large span and there's a small span. This was at the northeast corner of the large span as you were heading towards, if you were heading towards Clearwater.
From Tampa?
From Tampa, correct.
Okay. And did you collect soil from somewhere near the bridge itself?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us
It'll be
where?
on a service road that runs on the north side of the Courtney Campbell Causeway right there.
All right.
This is kind of at the foot of the bridge.
So would that be on, if you're looking at this as somewhat of an intersection where the water comes underneath the bridge, would this be to the northeast side
Yes, sir, it would be.
of the bridge? Okay. How did you go about making that collection?
Used plastic pouches and put on rubber gloves that did that for all the soil samples, as we'll talk about them. And I collected the sand with it's a little small spoon that comes with that pouch to keep everything together, and then put that in the plastic pouch, and then seal that up, and then put it in a plastic bag later for evidence.
Okay. After collecting that sample, what did you do with that?
I placed that in an evidence bag.
Okay. And then you said you've labeled that sample A. Did you put that marking on the bag?
Right, just so I would know that's the one from that
Okay.
location also.
And did you place some other marking on the bag, such as your name, the date, things like that?
Correct.
Okay. Republishing states AA-A5, and going now to just to the west of there, across the Courtney Campbell Causeway. Was there another location that you went to collect soil sample B?
Yes, sir, it's where Felicia was found.
All right. So you went to the location where her body was found?
Correct.
And was that on the north side of the causeway?
That's on the north side of the causeway. There's a service road that actually runs the whole length before you get to that smaller bridge.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked, or what is in evidence actually, as states L-A-2, and ask, do you recognize the area depicted in that photograph?
Yes, sir.
Does the photograph depict the area where you collected the soil sample?
Yes, sir, it does.
Can you show us approximately where you collected it from?
Approximately, it's going to be in this, actually, right where these little yellow markers are, in this general area right here.
Okay. And did that appear to be an area where cars park?
On the service road and then off the side, yes, sir.
Did you follow the same procedure when you collected the soil from that area?
Yes, sir, it did.
Did you put on a new pair of rubber gloves?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
And you're using the same kind of gloves that crime scene technicians use
Correct.
when they process crime scenes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And after collecting that sample, sample B, did you again place that into a bag?
Correct.
Did you place,
Sealed it up, correct.
sealed it up? Did you place your name?
Initials and date
Okay.
and then the letter B.
Now moving over all the way across Highway 60, all the way across Pinal. Is this all the way across Clearwater?
Yes, sir, it is.
And it's going to be through downtown Clearwater here?
Through downtown and then across the main span there into Clearwater.
Okay, and across the Clearwater Causeway into Clearwater Beach.
Correct.
All right, so we have a marker here, right here. I'm going to zoom in on that. Yeah. Go back out a little. Okay. So in this area here. Now, is this strip here, is this Clearwater Beach?
Correct, yes, sir.
All right. Did you collect sand from somewhere there on Clearwater Beach?
Yes, sir, it was at the Hyatt Hotel. That's at the dead end of, as you come across the causeway, it basically dead ends to that hotel right there. I took a soil sample from that, just on the other side of the parking lot towards the beach.
And how did you go about collecting it? Did you have to walk out onto the beach?
Yes,
or-
sir, it did.
Okay.
Just walked out, collected it, same way, placed it in the plastic pouch, sealed it, date, initials, and number C.
Did you follow the same procedure, putting on a new pair of gloves?
Yeah, absolutely, yes, sir.
Now, coming back across Highway 60, and we can see Highway 60 marked here. Did you stop in this area with this marker here?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay.
That's Belcher Road and Highway 60.
Okay. So this is going to be Gulf to Bay or Highway 60 in Belcher?
Yes, sir.
And did you make a collection of sand or soil in that area.
Yes, sir. Then right here in this corner, there was 2 businesses that were going up. So they had everything was leveled and cleared out. So I took another fresh sample there and
Okay.
did the same thing, placed it in a plastic pouch, date and time, and initialed that,
All
and
right.
with a new set of gloves also.
So if I'm following you, it's going to be on the southwest corner
Correct.
of that intersection?
Yes, sir.
Now, were you tasked with going out there to do this by Captain Lowell, who at the time was Sergeant Lowell?
Yes, sir.
And was he, along with the Detective Bureau, organizing and directing the investigation?
Yes, sir, he was.
I'm going to show you 4 separate packages, each marked separately and individually. Have you previously seen these?
Yes, sir, I have.
Okay. So I'm going to start with state AA-A-1. Just ask if you could take a look at it.
Yes, sir.
You recognize the packaging?
Yes, sir, it is. That's my packaging, my initials, and on the individual bags that are inside also.
All right. Now, is that one of the soil samples you collected?
Yes, sir. This is from sample B. This is the sample taken from where Felicia was found.
Okay. Does it appear to be in the same or substantially the same condition as when you collected it? Moving on to states AA-A-2, ask you to take a look at that.
Yes, sir.
Do you recognize it?
Yes, sir.
How do you recognize it?
My initials and date and time, and also on the bags that are inside the plastic bag. This is number A. This would be the one taken at the original site at the foot of the bridge of the large.
And if you could take a look at this exhibit, this is AA-A-3.
Same as the control samples taken from the Hyatt Hotel on Courtney Beach. The sand samples that are in here with my initials and season section.
So AA-A-3 is going to be sample C, is in Charlie. And these last 2 I didn't ask you, are they in the same, substantially the same condition as they were when
Yes.
you collected them? Okay, and then the last sample, AA-A-4, you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
How do you
This
recognize
is
it?
my initials and such that are on the bag, and my information up here on the evidence label. This is number B. This one is taken at the Belcher Highway 60 public.
And do the individual collections and samples, do they indicate the location? Have you written
Yes,
that?
they do, on the evidence location.
All right, so on this one, you've written under location, Belcher Avenue, Gulf today. Is it in the same or substantially the same condition as when you collected it?
Yes, sir, it is.
Now, I state with tender AA-A1, 2, 3, and 4.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Admitted?
All right. I just ask if you could look up over your right-hand shoulder at the screen. I'm going to publish, states AA-A-1. Take a look first at the label that you used. Again, you have your name, is that right?
Yes, sir, last name, my unit number, and then the case number, date, and time. And the description of where that one was taken.
And that indicates B, dirt sample, south side of Service Road at location of victim.
Correct.
And then this label here, is this where this evidence was impounded and inventoried into the property room at the Temple Terrace Police Department?
That would have been done by our evidence tech, who takes the property and places it in there.
And that was my question. You took these samples back to Temple Terrace Police Department?
Correct.
To the evidence section?
Correct.
And then the evidence technician there would have processed
Right,
the...
I place those in a locker, and then they remove them from the locker,
Oh,
and
okay.
then place them into evidence after that.
All right, and that's a secure location?
Yes, sir, it is.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You selected soil from 4 different locations, is that
Correct.
correct? Had you been asked to select soil from other locations, you would have done so,
If I was asked, yes, sir.
right? But you weren't asked to
No,
look
sir, I wasn't.
in any other location than the 4 that you described here today.
Correct.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Did this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, ready to go?
Thank you, ma'am.
Your Honor, the state would call Captain Mike Lowell.
Okay,
Right this way, sir. Please stop here first, state the clerk to be sworn.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give in this cause is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Step this way, have a seat on the witness stand.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Would you please state your name and spell both names, please?
Harry Michael Lowell, Lowell.
All right. And Captain Lowell, how are you employed?
I am the Investigative Services Division Commander for the Temple Terrace Police Department. My current rank is Captain.
All right. And how long have you worked for the Temple Terrace Police Department?
19 years.
All right. And over those 19 years, can you tell us some of the positions you've held with the Temple Terrace Police Department?
Certainly. I started out as a patrol officer. I was then made a detective where I investigated crimes against persons, murder, rape, robbery, that type of thing. I was then promoted to corporal of our of our detective unit, where I helped supervise that unit and investigated cold cases. I was then transferred back to patrol as a corporal, where I assisted in supervising a squad. Then was promoted to sergeant in patrol, where I supervised a squad. And then I was transferred back to the detective unit as the sergeant, where I commanded that unit. Was also then promoted to captain, where I commanded the patrol division, and then eventually transferred back to the investigative services division, which is my current position.
All right. You're captain over the Investigative Services Division.
That's correct.
And throughout your career, have you maintained certification as a sworn law enforcement officer pursuant to standards set by the state of Florida?
Yes, I have.
All right. So I'm going to call your attention, Captain, back to middle May of 2014. Were you involved initially in the missing persons investigation involving Felicia Williams, which later developed into a homicide investigation?
Yes, I was.
And did you, along with your detective bureau that you were supervising, direct that investigation?
Yes, I did.
Did you participate in the investigation?
Yes, I did.
And did you perform tasks during that investigation?
Yes, I did.
So I'm going to take you to May 17th, 2014, which would have been the Saturday morning going into the afternoon after Felicia disappeared the day before.
Okay.
Was there a request made by the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office Air Service, being a helicopter, to fly over portions of the Hillsborough County River?
Yes, we made that request of the sheriff's office.
And I'm going to show you what's already in evidence, the satellite image. You could look up over your right shoulder at that screen. Publishing states B. And just to direct your attention, this would be the intersection here of Bullard and 56th. You recognize the areas depicted in the map?
Yes, I do.
And are the portions of the Hillsborough County River that you asked the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office Air Service to fly over and to search, are they reflected in that satellite image?
Yes, they are.
States B. Can you show us the areas?
Certainly.
Go ahead and stand up if you need to.
Sure. We search from the dam area, which is here, all the way up to pretty much the north end of the river, which is up there.
All right. Did they locate anything?
They did not.
Did they locate any clothing?
They did not.
At that time, were you looking for Felicia herself?
Yes, we were.
hoping that she was still alive?
Yes, we were.
Were you looking for anything that may lead to her, such as clothing or anything else like that?
We were looking for any sign of her.
Was the entire Riverside Park and River Hills Drive area under the 56th Street Bridge and the woods behind that park, were they searched?
Yes, they were.
Showing you states B-C. And again, I'll draw your attention to this area for just reference as Bullard and 56. Do you recognize the area?
Yes, I do.
All right. And is that area around Riverside Park and River Hills Drive, is it reflected in the satellite image?
Yes, it is.
Can you show us the areas that were searched?
Yes. South River Hills Drive is here along the river. This area down here is Riverside Park, and that area was searched.
Did the Temple Terrace Fire Department also become involved in the search?
Yes, they assisted us.
Did they assist by providing manpower for canvassing of the Doral Oaks apartments?
Yes, they did.
Did they also bring in their, what are called SAR, or search and rescue dogs?
Yes, they did.
And were they utilized in the search for
Yes, they were.
Felicia? The parked vehicles within the Doral Oaks apartments in the parking lot, were they looked into at least and examined from the exterior of the vehicles?
Yes, they were.
During the investigation, was video evidence taken from certain businesses up and down this corridor of 56th Street, going up and down near the Doral Oaks apartments, even up past Bullard Parkway?
Yes, it was.
Did that include a Kmart that I believe was up in this area?
Yes, it did.
Okay, and did it also include a Winn-Dixie down here?
Yes, it did.
Those videos, did they depict, for the most part, the interior of those stores?
Yes, it did.
And did you, any evidence found on those videos of Felicia?
No evidence.
Are there several ponds around the area of the Doral Oaks apartments and south of the Doral Oaks apartments?
Yes, there are.
And were those ponds searched?
Yes, they were.
In fact, was the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office helicopter asked to come in over one of those ponds to help search?
Yes, it was.
And was that to use the rotors and the wind that it was blowing out on the bottom in some form or fashion?
That's correct. We had the helicopter come down low so it would blow the vegetation out of the way so we could visualize the pond.
Was any sign of Felicia or her clothing found around any of those ponds or any of those areas?
No.
On May 18th, 2014, this would be Sunday. At this point, Felicia's body's already been recovered
That's correct.
and for the most part identified as her.
That's correct.
Confirmation came later that day through an autopsy and comparison of her dental records.
That is correct.
Was there a continuing search in the area around the Doral Oaks apartments and the vicinity around it for her clothing?
Yes.
We've already talked about the search of retention ponds. Was there a search of a retention pond at River Hills Drive down here? And I believe Springdale, like in this area right here where I'm circling?
Yes, it's just slightly north of that, if I may.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
There.
All right. Thank you. Was that searched for her clothing?
Yes.
Were they located?
No, they were not.
And all of the retention ponds, if there was any garbage cans or garbage receptacles, were they also searched for her clothing?
Yes, they were.
Was there a dumpster inside of the Doral Oaks apartments?
Yes, there was.
And was there a maintenance area within the Doral Oaks apartments?
Yes, there was.
Were those two areas searched?
Yes, they were.
In fact, did a detective go inside of the dumpster and actually stand up on the side of the dumpster?
Yes, Detective Muldrow did.
Were the victim's clothing found in those areas?
No, they were not.
on May 19th, now going into Monday, 2014, just outside of the dumpster within the Doral Oaks Apartments, was there a recycling bin that was located there?
There's a clothing, I guess,
Like a donation?
like a donation box, yes.
Okay. Was the company that regulates and runs that, were they contacted?
Yes,
And did they open that for search?
yes, they did.
And were any clothes recovered that matched the clothing that Felicia was wearing?
No,
Were her clothes ever found?
they were not.
Were they ever recovered?
They were not.
Throughout the weeks after this, were there a couple of times when clothing was found on the Courtney Campbell Causeway?
Yes,
Was that brought to the Temple Terrace Police Department's attention,
yes, it was.
either through Tampa Police Department or by other means?
Yes,
And were those clothing taken by the Temple Terrace Police Department and shown to Felicia Demerson?
yes, they were.
Were any of them identified as coming from Felicia?
No, they were not.
Now, we have seen aviation, or excuse me, aerial photos taken from the air. This is states J 1 through 54, and I'm just going to show a couple of them. This would be states J1. Have you seen this group of photographs, Captain?
Yes, I have.
And in fact, did a detective from the Temple Terrace Police Department go up again with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office Aviation Unit
Sergeant, yes.
and take those photographs?
Yes,
Sergeant Spalla?
that's correct.
Was the same aviation unit asked to search the shoreline of the Courtney Campbell Causeway for any suitcases or clothing?
Yes, it was.
Was anything found?
No.
You have one moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
Captain Lowell, were you involved in a search that occurred just after midnight on May 18th of 2014 of the 721 apartment
Yes, I was.
at 8910 Tanglewood? Thank you, counsel.
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked. States C, as in Charlie, 92. Do you recall seeing this area of the apartment?
Yes, I did.
Do you recall noting what appear to be drag marks through the carpeting?
I did.
Can you just show us those real quick, where they're
Sure.
depicted on the photograph?
See right here, there.
All right. Was there an object that you found that's depicted in this photograph just outside of the tracks?
Yes, there was.
All right. And did you prepare a photograph that has a marking on the photograph around that object?
Yes, I did.
And what kind of marking was it?
A red circle?
States II. Can you see it from where you're sitting?
Yes, I can.
Is that the photograph?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, our tender states II. I is an Indian.
No objection.
Admitted?
Publishing II. Now, you've circled on there with a red circle an area where something was located. We can see somewhat of a dark object in there. And what was that was located there?
That was a zipper pull?
Okay. And was that later collected during a search where the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office assisted you?
Yes, it was.
During the investigation, did it come to the attention of the Temple Terrace Police Department there may be video evidence at a business located in Pinellas County, a business that services people who need loans, financial loans.
Yes.
Was that an Insta-loan business?
Yes, it was.
And was a video recovered from the Insta-loan business in St. Petersburg that was dated and timed from approximately 3:45 in the afternoon, 3:45 p.m. on May 17th, 2014?
Yes, it was.
Showing you it's been marked as states K. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
Does this DVD-R disc, does it contain a digital copy of that video?
Yes, it does.
Your Honor, I would tender states K.
Any objection? Noted.
On May 17th, and I know I'm jumping around here a little bit, going back to May 17th, Saturday, at around 3:45 to 4:15, were you made aware of attempts by then Corporal Rob Staley to contact the defendant, Granville Ritchie,
Yes, I was.
by phone?
Yes.
All right. And did you assist in those attempts to make contact with him?
Yes, I did.
Did you contact another agency to ask them to send some officers to a location?
Yes, I contacted the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department.
And did they in fact send some deputies to a location at US 301 in Fowler?
Yes.
What location was that?
A Winn-Dixie parking lot?
Did you, at a later time, not too long after that, after 4 o'clock in the afternoon of the 17th, did you again ask the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office for similar assistance?
Yes, I did.
And what assistance did you ask of them?
To go to the Advanced Auto Parts at Hillsborough, Nebraska area.
And did you provide, on both occasions, provide the deputy or the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office with a description of a motor vehicle?
Yes, I did.
What description did you provide?
A silver older model Lexus.
And did you ask the Sheriff's Office if they came into contact with the Lexus and the driver of the Lexus at Hillsborough in Nebraska to maintain control of that vehicle?
Yes, I did.
Were you anticipating possibly asking for a search warrant
Yes, I was.
to search that vehicle?
Yes.
Was there a business located at the intersection of Nebraska and Hillsborough?
Advanced Auto Parts?
And Captain, during this investigation into Felicia Williams' murder, did you consult with a scientist at the University of South Florida?
Yes, I did.
Was that in reference to some sand that had been collected from the Lexus GS400?
Yes, it was.
And what was, or who was the scientist you consulted with?
Dr. Christian Wells?
And were you familiar with him at that time?
Yes, I was.
And was that from previous investigations?
Yes.
And did you know, before you went to consult with him, that he conducted geochemical analysis of soil?
Yes, I did.
And was he located at the Department of Anthropology within the University of South Florida?
Yes, he was.
After consulting with Dr. Wells, did you direct Reserve Officer Phillippi to go to several locations to collect samples of sand?
I did.
And was one of those locations the actual location where Felicia's body was recovered on the Causeway?
Yes, it was.
Did you ask him to go to other locations to collect control samples?
Yes, I did.
Was the sand that was collected from the GS400, the Lexus, as well as the sand that was collected from the scene where Felicia's body was recovered, taken to and provided to Dr. Wells?
Yes.
And were the other samples of sand that were collected from different areas away from where her body was found, were they also taken to Dr. Wells at the University of South Florida?
Yes, they were.
Did you, at a later time, receive a report from Dr. Wells, I believe in August of 2014?
Yes, I did.
And did it have his analysis and findings in the report?
Yes, it did.
I'm going to ask you some questions about suitcases because we have suitcases involved in this case. Are suitcases commonly sold in sets?
Yes, they are.
And in what numbers, in your experience?
2s and 3s.
And are they normally sold, if they're sold in sets of 2 or 3, in different sizes?
Yes, they are.
And they can also be purchased individually, too.
That's correct.
Throughout this investigation, did the investigation reveal that Miss Wiley, Ebony Wiley, traveled on foot?
Yes, it did.
Was there any evidence that anywhere that she either owned or had a full-time access to a motor vehicle?
No, there was not.
And I'm talking about during the week of, I guess it would be May 12th, that led up to Friday the 16th.
There was no evidence that she had access to a vehicle.
Now, there was evidence that she was picked up on the night of the 16th by her friend and brought to the location at 56 and Bullard, correct?
Yes.
And that would be by Mr. Shelton?
Yes.
Sure, there's been marked as states DD-1. Just referring you to the number up here.
Okay.
You recognize that number?
I do.
813-900-1494.
Yes.
Do you recognize that to be the number of Ebony Wiley?
Yes, I do.
States DD-1 that you've just seen, is this a set of cell phone call detail records
Yes, it is.
or cell phone records? Are you familiar with cell phone records?
Yes, I am.
Were you familiar with cell phone records before this case?
Yes.
Had you, through investigations into violent crimes and other crimes, collected and ordered or subpoenaed or even through search warrant obtained call detail records such as those?
Yes, I have.
And was that from multiple cell phone providers?
Yes.
Sprint,
Sprint, T-Mobile.
T-Mobile,
AT&T.
Metro PCS,
Yes.
AT&T? Were you familiar with their different forms of organizing their records?
Yes.
So you were familiar with Metro PCS records?
Yes, I was.
And have you utilized cell phone records in other investigations?
Yes, I have.
And are you familiar with the cell phone records containing tower location information for each phone call that's being made?
Yes.
And have you in the past located cell towers by either latitude, longitude coordinates or by provided records with identification numbers for each tower that then led you to lat-long coordinates?
Yes, I have.
And have you mapped cell towers in your career in this case and in other investigations?
Yes, I have.
And when I say map, have you located the cell towers, their geographical locations on either satellite images or maps?
Yes, I have.
Did you do that to determine physical location in reference to either a crime scene or in reference to some other relevant matter in the case?
Yes, I did.
Have you had an opportunity to review the records from Ms. Wiley?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And I'll draw your attention to phone calls from approximately 4 p.m. on the 16th, going through to the end of that day, beginning at midnight, going into the 17th, and going all the way up until 1 o'clock when Detective Carroll and Corporal Staley made contact with Ms. Wiley.
Okay.
All right? During that time period, have you researched her cell phone records?
Yes, I have.
And have you, for any phone calls she made where there was cell tower location information provided, have you located those towers on a map or satellite image of Temple Terrace in the city of Tampa?
Yes, I have.
And Hillsborough County?
Yes.
All right. From those time periods of 4 p.m. on May 16th going all the way through to 1 p.m. the following day, did her phone utilize any towers outside of Temple Terrace or East Tampa?
No, it did not.
Did her phone utilize any towers that were any further west than East Tampa?
No, it did not.
Did her phone utilize any towers that were anywhere near the Courtney Campbell Causeway
No, it did not.
at any time during that time period?
No, it did not.
And from 1 o'clock until her arrest sometime after 7 o'clock, May 17th, she was at the Temple Terrace Police Department,
That is correct.
or approximately 1:30. From 1 o'clock, she was in the presence of Detective Carroll and Corporal Staley, and from that point forward until her arrest, she was in the presence of law enforcement.
That's correct.
On May 16th of 2014, which would have been the Friday that Felicia went missing, do you know when the sun set was on that date?
I do.
And when was that?
Approximately 8:13 p.m.
Now, did you at some point during your investigation go out to the Courtney Campbell Causeway and meet with some officers from Pinellas County?
I did.
And were those detectives from the Clearwater Police Department?
Yes, they were.
Was one of those Detective Spaulding?
Yes, it was.
And she had been at the scene when the body was recovered?
Yes,
Did you meet with her somewhere on the Courtney Campbell Causeway?
I did.
And where was that?
At the body recovery location.
I'm going to show you states L-A-2. Just ask, do you recognize that area?
I do.
Do you recognize that as being the area where Felicia's body was recovered, and where you were advised that her body was recovered?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now, when you met with Detective, I believe now Sergeant Spaulding, what time of the day was it?
It was at night.
And was it full-on dark night,
Yes,
past twilight, past sunset, and all of that?
yes.
And was that on or around, I believe, May 19th that you went out there?
Yes,
So just a couple days after Felicia's body was found.
yes.
When you went out there, could you describe for the jurors the effect of those bushes, which are on the left side of the photograph here? And you would agree with me that that foliage, all of these trees and bushes here that I'm circling around on the left side of the photograph, would be between the area where Felicia's body was recovered and the main thoroughfares of the Courtney Campbell Causeway.
Yes.
Can you explain to the jurors the effect at night that those plants have on the area depicted on the roadway of the North Access Road in this area?
Yes, it completely obstructs the view of that area at night.
Okay. And if a person's in that area at night, from what you saw out there that night without their lights on, their headlights on, or their car lights on, can you just tell us how dark it is?
It's very dark out there.
Would a driver driving on the Courtney Campbell Causeway be able at night to see someone behind that area?
No, they would not.
And is that a fairly secluded area?
Yes, it is.
And is it a fairly isolated area in reference to the entire Courtney Campbell Causeway?
Yes, it is.
Are there many other areas on the causeway where there is this kind of dense foliage that creates that kind of obstruction or seclusion?
No.
Just within the last 4 weeks, did you go out to that, let me put it back up. Did you go back out to the area of the North Access Road, again publishing states L-A-2?
I did?
And was someone with you?
Yes.
And who was that?
Retired Detective Tom Carroll.
And when you all went out there, why did you go out there?
To take video of the drive from the access road down to the body recovery site.
All right. And the access road, the entrance to the access road is not depicted in this photograph. It would be farther back to the east.
That's correct.
And when you conducted that, did you videotape that?
I did.
All right. Did you notice any difference in the road itself versus the way when you went out there on the 19th?
No.
And I'm talking about other than the difference. You went out there in the daytime.
That's correct.
Okay, other than the difference in lighting.
No, the road itself was essentially the same.
All right. Did you notice anything that was different about the plants and trees growing along the north side of that north access road? Which
Yes.
would be, if you're driving westbound, would be on the passenger side?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Did you notice anything different about them versus the way they appeared on the 19th when you went out there?
Yes.
And what was the difference?
It appeared that the trees along the roadway had been recently trimmed.
Okay, when you just went out there recently?
Right, when we just went out there 2 weeks ago.
So would it be fair to say that they were more overgrown on the 19th when you were out there?
Yes.
When I say 19th, I mean May 19th, 2014, obviously. All right. And when you drove that and filmed those videos, were there times when you were, well, let me ask you this, when you were driving, were you attempting to keep your vehicle on the access road?
Yes, I was.
Were there times when the car was being, was coming into contact with the plants on the right-hand side or passenger side as you're heading west?
Yes.
Was that more than once?
Yes,
Was it several times?
many times. Yes.
And is that reflected by noise that can be heard in the video?
Yes, it is.
When you finished this video process and you got back to the Temple Terrace Police Department, I'm assuming you went back there?
Yes,
Okay. Did you at some point notice something on the front of your car?
I did.
What did you notice?
I noticed that we had I had a twig stuck between my headlight and the hood that we had picked up while driving out there.
Okay. And can you tell us the difference in navigating that road, even when you went out there at night with headlights? I'm assuming when you drove out there at night, you had headlights on your car that worked and were operable?
Yes.
Was there any difference in navigating that road at night with headlights versus in the daytime?
Yes.
And can you tell us the difference?
Considerably more difficult to navigate at night because you really can't visualize that entire road. The whole road's very dark at night.
The streetlights that are on the Courtney Campbell Causeway, and there are streetlights,
Yes.
are there beams and they're trying to remember the term, the direction, I guess, of those lights, are they directed into the lanes where the cars are driving
Yes.
to illuminate that area,
Yes.
but not the area where the north access road is?
That's correct.
Detective, over the years that you've worked as a, I'm sorry, captain, I keep calling you detective. Over the years that you've worked as an officer and a detective supervisor and now a captain, have you had occasions to respond to death scenes,
Many times.
including homicide scenes,
That's correct, yes.
but including other scenes too, like suicide and so forth?
Suicide, natural deaths, yes.
Have you had occasion at those scenes to be required to move the body, the deceased body?
I have.
And is that an easy process?
No, it is not.
And how would you describe it?
Very comfortable.
Relevance, Your Honor.
What's the relevance?
The relevance is that Felicia's body was transported and moved, Your Honor, and there is other relevance I can state at the bench if you wish.
Standing objection.
Okay. Detective, the Installone video that I showed you earlier that you identified?
Yes.
Okay, that states M.
Okay.
Okay. I had said K on the record, I wanted to correct that. Captain Lowell, during your investigation of this case, did you become familiar with the Courtney Campbell Causeway?
I did.
Did you already have familiarity with the Courtney Campbell Causeway before this case?
I did.
And was that familiarity based on your job and on your personal life?
That's correct.
Experiences around the Courtney Campbell Causeway?
Yes.
Are you familiar with a section of the Courtney Campbell known as the Courtney Campbell Trail or Courtney Campbell Causeway Trail?
Yes, I am.
All right. And where is that located?
That is on the south side of the Courtney Campbell Causeway.
And in 2014, was it completed?
It was not.
And is that something similar to this north side access road we're looking at, but built for pedestrians and bicycling?
Yes, it's built for pedestrians and bicycles.
And that would be on the opposite side of the Courtney Campbell from where Felicia's body was located?
That's correct.
Through your investigation, did you determine whether there were any stationary red light cameras, red light video cameras, or any other traffic cameras mounted anywhere on the Courtney Campbell Causeway at any of the intersections?
I did.
And what did you find out from that?
There were no cameras.
Is that something you all looked at
Yes.
and were hoping to find?
Yes.
Were there any cameras maintained by any government agency or private agency contracted with any government agency at any of those intersections?
No.
Are you familiar with what are known as LPRs or
Yes.
tag readers?
Yes, I am.
What is an LPR?
License plate reader?
Okay. Are you familiar with a company known as Vigilant Solutions?
Yes, I am.
What type of company is that?
They collect data and maintain a database from both public and private license plate readers.
All right. And do they collect images of license plates that are recorded by individual license plate reader cameras?
Yes.
And where are those Where are they collecting those from? Where are those located?
They can be located pretty much anywhere. You see a lot of them. Some are on police cars, some are on tow trucks that go out and do repossessions. There's actually deployable, they're mobile, but it's a deployable fixed camera location that can be set up in an area if you want to capture tag data. So any number of sources.
Was there any deployable fixed LPRs on the Courtney Campbell Causeway?
No.
On the 16th or 17th?
No, there was
of
not.
May 2014. Did your agency receive an electronic data file from the Vigilant Solutions company?
Yes, we did.
All right, and was that through another law enforcement agency?
Yes, it was.
All right. And did that include 7 automobile tags that had been collected
Yes.
by some type of an LPR, whether it's on a tow truck or some other vehicle?
Yes.
All right. And through Vigilant Solutions, when those photographs are taken, do they electronically record the date and time of the photographs?
They do?
Were any of those license plates that were provided to you photographed after 9:50 p.m. on the 16th?
No.
So all of them had times before 9:50 p.m. on the 16th?
That's correct.
And they were all from the Courtney Campbell Causeway Trail?
Yes.
None from the main thoroughfares?
That's correct.
And you don't know if that was from a tow truck, a repo truck, or what type of mobile vehicle had the actual tag reader on it?
No, we do not.
And were those the tags that were looked at by Detective Smith?
Yes.
Were electronic may I have one moment, Your Honor? I'm going to
Yes.
withdraw that question. I'll tend to the witness, Your Honor.
Okay, cross.
Good morning.
Good morning.
When you requested soil samples, did you identify where you wanted the soil samples to be collected from?
Just random, well, we wanted one sample from where the body was recovered and then some random samples around Pinellas County.
Okay, did you want another sample from the bridge itself?
No, just,
Okay, so the fact that a sample was collected on the northeast side of Courtney Campbell Causeway, close to the first bridge span, was just accidental?
be northwest side where the body site was?
No, there's one
Oh,
sample.
on the northeast side, yes, no, okay, yes.
All right, so the one that's collected on the northeast side, was that just accidental? Well, you didn't instruct for them to collect?
I don't believe I gave specific instructions for that spot
Okay.
to be sampled.
When you asked for the soil samples, were you at that time familiar with the NOAA report that had been provided to law enforcement?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And so you knew that NOAA had, based on drift analysis and such, had indicated that their belief was that the most likely spot where the body had been placed into Tampa Bay was on the southeast side of the Courtney Campbell
Judge, I
Causeway.
object to this statement of the evidence.
You can clear it up on redirect if need be. Go ahead, you can answer.
Would you please repeat the question?
Yes. So you're aware of the fact that NOAA had determined and suggested that the most likely location that the body had been placed into Tampa Bay, based on the drift patterns, the currents, the wind, the weight of the body, was on the southeast side of the Courtney Campbell Bridge.
Yes,
Okay. And the body is actually located, when it's found by a civilian, on the northwest side of the Courtney Campbell Bridge, right?
that's correct.
Okay. And so you were aware of that information, but you did not send anyone out to collect a soil sample from the southeast part of the Courtney Campbell Causeway?
I don't recall if I specifically worded that or not.
Well, I think you just testified that you only specifically requested a soil sample from where the victim was found.
That's correct.
Okay. So it'd be fair to then, based on that you didn't instruct them to go anywhere else, right?
Just randomly. I don't believe I gave them
Right.
specific instructions on where.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay, redirect.
Your Honor. Were you also aware in the NOAA report that Ms. McFadden opined in the report that it was just as possible the body had been deposited where it was located?
Yes,
And were you aware in her report that she based her report and her drift analysis under the assumption that Felicia's body had been drifting out in the open water until just before it was found?
Yes.
And are you aware of the fact that she, in the report, recorded Felicia's body at 100 pounds and also 4'5", when in reality she was 120 pounds, over a fifth of a difference in size, and 4'9"?
Yes.
Okay. I have nothing else, Your Honor.
Okay, may this witness be excused?
I'd ask that he be held, Your Honor, under subpoena.
Okay.
And he
so
can
you're
leave the court
excused,
now.
subject to being recalled.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. Okay, let's go ahead and take a quick 10-minute morning recess, all right? Well, it's about 10:21, we'll be back at 10:30, all right? See you then.
All rise, jury exiting.
All right, jury's at the courtroom, and we're in recess. Very good.
Thank you.
Who's gonna be your next witness?
Melissa Kelly, Your Honor.
Okay, very good.